Okay, so I'm Megan, and today we are going to make whoopie pies. And I know you're thinking, I can't bake, my cap is Toll House break aparts, I'm going to stick with those, it's easy. No, these are actually not bad. Whoopie pies are basically, it's 2 cookies, and they have a frosting in the middle. So we have a buttercream today, which is a basic chocolate whoopie pie. It's an interesting name. No one really seems to know exactly where the name whoopie pie came from. Some people say it came from Europe. Some people say it's from the Amish, and they would put the whoopie pies in their children's lunch boxes, and the kids would open up like, oh, whoopie, we have dessert. So maybe that's where I know they're really popular in Amish stores. They're really easy, and they're delicious. So we're going to start today. All right. So first we have our dry ingredients that we're going to sift together. We are taking our flour and baking soda, cream of tartar, some salt, sugar, and the best part is cocoa powder. So we're going to sift those all together. And we're sifting so we can make sure everything gets incorporated, nice and easy. Also kind of aerates your flour a little bit, so nice and fluffy. Because the whoopie pies they're called a pie, but they're not really. They're kind of in the cookie family, but they're not a crispy cookie. They're very fluffy. They're kind of almost like a cupcake top. So we want nice and fluffy and moist and amazing. And all sifted. Okay, so we will set that aside for now. Separate bowl, we have our mixer. Now we're doing our wet ingredients. So we will whisk together egg and some oil. I'm going to be using a wood attachment. So we have our egg. And we'll add our oil, and what we're going to do is we are going to blend this together until it gets nice and incorporated. Forcing that oil and that egg to come together. Nice and complete. Then you're going to be adding some vanilla and buttermilk. And if you're like us, say we don't have buttermilk available, you can make your own. It basically just takes a little bit of lemon juice or vinegar, and they use about and you fill it up with the milk just till it gets about a cup. And so you let that sit for about 10-15 minutes. And you will have your own homemade buttermilk. It's very interesting. So mix that up until it's nice and blended. Going to go put our dry ingredients on a piece of parchment. We're going to be adding it to our wet ingredients. Parchment just makes it easier so you don't have to take a scoop and scooping it out. It's all nice and put together in a little bowl. Lovely. So we're going to kind of cook that. Now we're going to mix it just until it is blended together. We don't want to overmix it because then the gluten in your flour that you just added get really tough, kind of dry. You won't have those nice moist fluffy cakes. This is what you want. A little bit. Scoop down your sides. You got all of that dusties in there, and they want to cling to the bowl and not get mixed in. So we'll let that mix up a little bit more. Those last little bits. Alright. And this will be baked in a oven that you have set at 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius if you use Celsius. So that should be ready for you. Now whoopie pies they're not going to be rolled and cut out, they're not going to be scooped, they're generally a pipe cookie, which means we get to play with the piping bags. So what you're going to need is your pan and your handy dandy slow pack. These are great non-stick silicone baking sheet. It'll make sure that when they bake, they'll just pop right up. No messing with a nasty old spatula. And we're going to use a larger tin. I believe this is it's not this big. You don't want them super small because you'll be, and it's not that big a deal if you have anything crazy because they're just going to be mounds and nothing fancy, and they're kind of blend together. So you'll put your little tip in there, and you'll fold over your bag. One, this makes it easier when you're putting in your dough or something like that. Do it about halfway. You'll have more control. You're not having it spill out the top, and so you can kind of hold it. Now, this stuff, since it's a little bit on the thinner side, it might be kind of hard to just pour in with a spatula. So if you don't have a friend, you can take like one of these guys or a tall cup, anything really, just so you can kind of have that support. And see, our batter is kind of thin, a little bit runny. It's not super, super thick. So you can do this carefully. I often get messy. I'll just pour it in. And again, you don't want to do it too much, so if you don't think you can get it all in there without making a mess, kind of go ahead. And then it will just hold like that. Look at that, you have all this extra room, so you have stuff ready, and then you're going to give it a good twist. And sink into the bottom. Yeah, you want to make sure that your tip is really far in there so it doesn't kind of spill over the edge. And this is why we don't cut the bag before you're ready to pipe, because you know that would be a nice little disaster. We don't want that. So sometimes it's a little on the thinner side. I made this earlier the other day, and it was a little bit thicker. So if it's running, it might not do what you want it to do. And this is going to be fun. So you'll cut your tip.
A little hole?
I'm sorry?
A little hole? You put a little hole?
Yeah, you'll want to cut just enough so it comes, so it can come out of the, it's like right before. And with the bag, you don't want to be squeezing from the middle. You have your twist at the top. That's all right. But you're going to be getting that pressure from the top, and you're kind of forcing it through there. So yeah, this is a little brighter side, which is kind of good. So basically, you can either do right from the middle, kind of press, and it'll make those little mounds. The batter I had the other day was a little bit thicker and easier to work with. And I'm on the shorter side, so it was kind of hard for me to get right up on top of it to do in the middle. So I kind of swirled it, and it'll bake into itself, so you won't really see too much of that. You want to kind of stagger them a little bit. You don't want nice neat rows so the air can circulate when it's baking. And make sure there is enough room in between them so that they can spread. They will spread a little bit. So basically, we'll just do that. This is why I wear gloves. Not only is it safe, it saves the mess. So yes, those will go in your oven, 375. The original recipe will say 11 to 13, but depending on your oven, depending on the batter, how if it's a little on the side, it'll bake a little quicker. So we're starting at 9 minutes, and then it's good to check maybe about 5. What you're looking for is in the middle as it's cooking. It's going to kind of rise up a little bit, and you should be able to kind of press in, and it should kind of give, but then pop back up. You'll know it's done. With whoopie pies, you don't want a crispy edge. You have the 2 sandwich cookies and the frosting, and you're eating it. It'll still taste good, but that texture, it might throw you off a little bit. You want them kind of soft like cake. So you don't want them too crisp. So that's why I say kind of, you pop it in for those first 4 or 5 minutes, and then you want to kind of keep checking. Sometimes you make an extra one, kind of scoop it out, and you can adjust your time, because I know all the ovens are different.
You can also make, like, use the parchment paper and make circles so you have the same exact, because I know
You can, yeah. If you're not confident in your, skills to get them beautifully and perfect, because you do want them to keep a generally same size, because they're sandwiches, so you don't want a giant one, a little baby, kind of silly. So yeah, you kind of make that little stencil or a little guide to kind of help you. So yes, so then while those are baking, you can make more buttercream to the other side. Buttercream involves butter and powdered sugar, a little vanilla. And buttercream is one of my favorite fillings for this because I use just a regular white type frosting. It was good, but it wasn't as sweet and it wasn't, I don't know, buttercream has that really nice kind of smooth, buttery texture. It's rich, it's delectable. It's perfect. So for your buttercream, you're going to take your butter and make sure it is room temperature. You don't want it cold, it's going to seize up in there. You want nice and room temperature so it's creamy and amazing. And we're going to use a paddle attachment for this one. They're all clean now. Add your butter. want to just dump this all in there. That'll be a hot mess. And it won't take to the butter very well at all. So add a little bit. Just enough to kind of get it going. And then we'll just let that mix. Make sure you have a spatula handy, because you will be scraping down the sides a lot. It's powder and butter sugar, so it's going to be so it's already starting to work. Scrape down the sides. All together. And paddle. Make sure you get the bottom too, because a lot of it likes to be left down there. Right. And it's good when you're adding this right in the beginning. Don't immediately jack it up to the high setting, because you will wear it and not eat it. You could eat it, but if you, maybe you can get a friend. And once it kind of starts to incorporate to that butter, then you can kind of turn the speed up a little bit. Stop and scrape. Should be as stop and scrape. And I just put it up in there. And keep on mixing that until it gets all incorporated. What are we going to do?
That's right.
Good job. You guys are great.
You're a good teacher.
Kind of move you over a little bit so I can get the other guys. Try to hide. I'm not going to. All that kind of As you're mixing that one, then you can add your vanilla. It's already sweet and delicious, so let's make it more amazing. gonna make bad for you, but it tastes so good. Alright, so it's all mixed. Like that little girl from this movie. It's so fluffy, I could die. Okay, so you'll have your cookies that are cool, but as you take them off, you want to make sure they cool on a wire rack. Now, this is what happens if you have your batters too, well, too runny, or if you leave it on too long, because remember, we don't want it to crisp. It's crisp. So what they're going to do is they're not going to rise as much. They have those edges. The center's still a little bit soft. You do want that soft. They're supposed to be a little bit more like the top of a cookie. So that's kind of right. But you'll see on the edges, they're crispy. So a way to tell that, as you're putting them in the oven, and you're not sure that, oh, they could be done, you know, maybe not actually a little bit. Like I said, make a couple extra, then we can kind of take one out, and you can kind of tell if you can squeeze a little bit on the edges, it'll give way just a little bit, it'll pop back like your center. If you start feeling that hardness, they're too done. This will taste pretty good, but it won't be exactly what you want. So after your cookies are cooled, don't let them melt your buttercream. We'll do the same thing like you did before. You will take your pastry bag, a little tip in there, fold it over, don't get too much. Twist it. And you're going to make like a little bit of a spiral. Just a little hard. You need to warm it up a little bit, kind of rub it with your hands. Keep it by a warm place just for a second. Kind of release them. So again, you got the pressure from the top, not squeezing in the middle. You're kind of more using the second hand like as a guide. And basically, that's where I'm not squeezing it. You're just going to be piping liquid. It's not sticking because it's too hard. You want to soften it to the better. But you're just going to kind of keep on swirling it until you get a nice spiral of buttercream going from the middle all the way out to the edge. And it kind of helps because it keeps it a nice, tight inside. And it'll keep it even. Because as you're kind of going out around the edge, you'll eventually come to right there. And when it's all filled in, there's nowhere to go. There's a little bit of frosting in there. You can see it better. It looks like a better presentation when you are sandwiching together. Okay. So that would be a little bit easier for you, but it's a little bit softer. So you have your filling, and you take your cookie, again, about the same size, and you just kind of press it on top. You have a little sandwich. This is a big one, but it's a sandwich. And they are quite delicious. And again, this is just a chocolate whoopie pie with a basic buttercream in the center. They're so versatile. There are books out there just for whoopie pies. You can change the cake part, make it like pumpkin, make it red velvet. You can make cream cheese filling. You can make fruit filling, mint, pumpkin, whatever you want. So you can, both parts you can make your own. You can do it for the holidays. You can do it for a birthday. You can just put some ice cream on top. Make a whoopie pie Sunday. Either way, you have